Hello, 5th grade and 4th grade and 3rd grade. I'm going to answer all your questions in the same video because you came up with 4 in the 5th grade and 10 in the 4th grade and 10 in the 3rd grade. So I'm just going to answer them all together and you can watch the same video. That way it saves me time too. So we'll start with 5th grade. 5th grade asked me, do they have malls? They do have malls. They have about 4 malls and they're huge. They're 3 or 4 stories high, these malls, and they go all weird turns and hallways and everything. You could get lost in a mall. But they do have malls here like they do in the United States. They're just much bigger here than they are in the United States. Where do you sleep and eat? Well, I live in an apartment here right on the grounds where the school is. So I eat in my apartment and I sleep in my apartment in the bedroom, like in a bed like you would sleep at home. I don't live in a grass hut or anything. I don't sleep on the floor. I do sleep in a bed, and I eat my food in my apartment, and I also eat during the school day down here with other teachers. How is Chile different from the USA? Well, obviously the language. They speak Spanish here. They speak English in the United States. The dress is a little bit different. The Chileans wear very bright colors, and they all have very dark hair. They don't wear a lot of gold because gold to them means you're very wealthy. They don't wear a lot of gold. They wear boots, dress boots, a lot with their jeans. They wear jeans. A lot of times they wear jeans and sweaters and t-shirts. They wear much the same as we wear there. The food is different. You can find some of the same foods like rice and chicken and beef, but you can also find foods here that are just for Chilean people. Like they make this food made with corn, and they chop and they mush up the corn and they put different things in it, and then they take the husk from the corn, they open it, and they cook this stuff inside the husk, the green part of the corn. And it's really good. They also have a food called empanadas, which is like a big hot pocket with meat inside or cheese. So the food is different here, but there's also some food that's the same here, and I'm enjoying both of them. I like both of them. Do the children love God? The kids at the school, most of them do love God. Some of them don't even know God, and we have to be the ones to tell them about God and how much He loves them. But there are some children here that love Him very much, and they sing and pray every day with the teachers. So that's a big blessing to be here and see that the children do love the Lord very much. Okay, 4th grade questions. Is it fun to teach English? Well, the kids already speak English because the school is an English school. So it's fun to teach in English because I'm teaching in English. I don't have to really think about whether or not they're going to understand me. And even if I see if they don't understand me, I try a different way to explain it. Do you eat with spoons and forks? Yes, we do. Knives, spoons, forks. We don't have to use our fingers. We have everything like you do at home. How many kids do you teach? Well, I have 17 students. So I have 9 in the 1st grade and I have 8 in the 2nd grade. So I teach them at different times during the day. When I'm teaching with one group, the other one's doing work at their seat, and then I switch. So it's very different, like a classroom you would have back home where you actually you're the only ones in there. You don't have another grade in there with you. What is the landscape like? Well, I live at the bottom of the Andes Mountains, and the Andes Mountains are huge mountains. They make our mountains look very, 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 very small. And there's always snow on the top in the winter. They're very beautiful. In fact, there are some pictures that hopefully somebody can show you that are pictures of the mountains with the snow on top. But it's also a very busy city. So the air is kind of dirty. When you get higher up, you go to the mountains and you can look down and you can see the line of the smog from the city. It's yucky, but the mountains are beautiful. Every morning I get to see that when I come out of my house, my apartment. What was the first thing you taught them in English? Well, they already knew English. But the first thing I guess I would have taught them was my name and what I expected of them as students in my class and what they were going to learn this year. But the first thing I taught them was my name because they know everything else. They know how to speak English. What do they call money? Well, money they call pesos. And Spanish pesos are different than Chilean pesos. This is 100 pesos. It is a coin. I don't know if you can see if I can get it closer. Okay. This is about, maybe 50 cents to our dollar, maybe a quarter. But that's what they call the money is pesos. P-S-O-S. P-E-S-O-S is what they call it. They use pesos. That's Chilean pesos. It's different from the Mexican peso that you might hear about. But they do use pesos. They don't use dollars. Think of it as half of what the money would be. So if you had 1,000 pesos, that would be $2 in the United States. If you had 10,000 pesos, that would be $20 in the United States. So it's pretty much half or double depending on how you think about it. And it took a lot to get used to that here when I was buying things. I had to think about what it would cost me in American dollars before I spent my money. So that's a good question. Let's see. How do they celebrate Easter? They call it La Semana Santa, which is Holy Week. And they celebrate Good Friday. They have a big program on Good Friday usually when they come and bring people to the church and tell them about Jesus. And then on Easter, they call it Resurrection Day. And they sing, and sometimes they even have a meal. But they make a bigger deal out of Easter than they do Christmas here, I found. But they do celebrate it. They just call it different things than we call it at home. What is it like at Christmas time? Well, Christmas time you don't see a lot of the Christmas trees because they don't grow here. People have to buy the trees in the store if they want a Christmas tree. It's not cold, it doesn't snow because it's in their summertime. So that was very strange for me to get used to that, to be celebrating Christmas during the summertime. Very strange, very strange. Let's see. Are there a lot of people there? Yes, it's a big city. There are a lot of people here. I couldn't tell you how many. I don't know how many, but it's like New York City, where there's many, many people on the street. Were you nervous at first going to Chile? I was very nervous, and I was very scared because I wasn't going with anybody. I was going all by myself. But I had Jesus on my side with me. So that was easier for me to think about when I had to travel. But yes, I was very nervous about coming here. It's something that I had never done. I'd never gone out of the country before. I'd never traveled by myself. And then I was doing both of those things. Going into a country where I didn't know a lot of Spanish. I knew some, but I didn't know a lot. So it was very scary for me to come. Okay, 3rd grade questions. Do you teach them about God? Yes, I do teach them about God. Every day we have Bible, and they learn more and more about God. And yes, that was Sawyer Yonsak's question. And I knew that was your question when I read it. And you are the one and only crazy and hyper one. Well, I'm not going to argue with that, but I still love you. Are there Christians there? Yes, there are. There are many Christians here, and especially in the missionary churches. You'll meet all kinds of Christians here. There are Catholics, there are Christians, there are Protestants, there are Lutherans, there are so many different religions here. Do you like them? Well, if you're talking about the Chilean people, yes, I do. I do like the Chilean people. They're very friendly. They might stare at you a little bit because they're not used to seeing Americans, especially with my hair color. Everybody has dark hair. They do stare at you a little bit, but they are very friendly if you know how to talk to them. How much do they know about God and Jesus? Well, they're a very Catholic country, so they believe things about God and Jesus, but they don't put as much belief as we do into them. They don't see God the way we see God as Christians. They see him differently, and they see Jesus differently, but they do know about them here. Is it a different season there? Right here, during this time, in August, we are going from winter to spring. You are going from fall to winter. We're going from winter to spring. So it's going to start getting warmer here. And you guys are going to start getting colder. But we're getting warmer here. Little by little, every day it gets a little warmer. What are the trees like? Well, there's lots of palm trees here. You see a lot of palm trees. Then you see fruit trees. There's orange trees and lemon trees and apple trees. You see a lot of fruit trees and the mountains. But there's not a lot of like pine trees and elm trees and maple trees. You don't see those here because it's a city. There's a lot of sidewalks and there's a lot of buildings. Not a lot of room for trees to grow. But they do have palm trees. Sometimes in people's backyard will be a palm tree. Funny, isn't it? How do they wear their hair? Many of them have straight hair and they'll just wear it down. Sometimes they'll put mousse in it. Sometimes they'll put it in ponytails. They wear it like we do. Different ways, different things to do, different colors, but it's very dark hair color. They all have very dark hair. What is the name of the school you're teaching at? The name of the school here is Santiago Christian Academy, and it's been here for a long, long time. And it is an English-speaking school. These are all very good questions. Very good questions. I enjoyed answering them. Thank you for coming up with them. Thank you for coming to VBS. Thank you, thank you, thank you for raising the money that you brought in. I'm sure it will be used for something very, very needed here in the school. Well, I miss you all, and I hope that you have a great rest of the time at VBS, and that you enjoy the closing program, and that you have a great start to the school year. It's coming up. Sorry to remind you of that, but it is. So So take care, everybody, and I'll say goodbye like they do in Chile. Ciao!